I would like to welcome you in this important section on how to end FGM. Today is a special day because it is an International Women's Day. Today we are celebrating strong women. And who are these strong women? Who are these people to be respected? Who are these special people? We want now to know how you are strong on how to end FGM. Not only to be strong, not only to be special women, but to be special women by doing actions, by fighting for this right of our girls. Is that okay? Yes. We want you a strong woman, because now as we are little girls, but as you now you are learner and you are strong, we want now you to protect us. We want to be big and we want to be strong like you. So please, what I beg you, can you provide good seminars at places like Turkana, places at Maasai places, so that these people, they will stop FGM. We want also them to stop FGM. And as you strong women, we would like you to do that thing. As you have seen me, I am a strong girl. And also, I hope one day I'll be a strong woman who is supporting the right of girls. In my dream, I want to be a lawyer. Why do I want to be a lawyer? Why me? I want to learn so that I can be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer so that I can support my community who are very ignorant, Maasai. And also, I want to support our girls. So at this right, I want to fight the right of our children, as sweet girls, as Maasai girls. We would like also Maasai girls to be presidents. We would also like Maasai girls to be strong women like you. We would like also Maasai girls to be like nice, to be professors, or not. Yes, we like Maasai girls to be big people who are learned, who are educated. And I know the time I become a lawyer, Maasai girls, you'll start seeing Maasai girls being presidents.
We want women to be dignified like anybody else. We want dignity. And there are a lot of things that happen in Africa and in our lives which do not dignify the woman. And one of them is FGM. FGM is a cut, but it's not just a cut. It comes with a lot of things. It comes with, the child turning into a woman suddenly and getting married to an older man. How do you start negotiating sex with an older man? You get a child, you get pregnant, and you're a child, you drop out of school. I mean, your future is predetermined. There's only so much you can achieve as a child wife. And so it is not dignified to have FGM. And I think the reason why we should honor this day is to talk about dignity, to see how to dignify women and men equally.
The Alternative Rite of Passage, we as Amref, this is an older intervention in Kenya. It started in the 1970s. It's about communities exploring and choosing to use alternative, culturally alternative methods that don't have the cut, that are not harmful. And we find that the Alternative Rite of Passage has many approaches within it. We do reach the traditional birth attendants. We train them, we train communities, and we have community facilitators. We have the school outreaches. We train community-based organizations. And we do community outreaches for an extended period. Then we negotiate. We also take the communities for cultural exchange visits to other communities who are struggling to end female genital mutilation. And after maybe a year, the communities will be ready to say, we want to explore an alternative rite of passage, that is an alternative ritual, whereby we can graduate our girls into womanhood, but without having the cut. So that's where the communities organize in their own way. They use their rituals, they use their traditions to organize a public ceremony where their religious leaders, political leaders come and they make public denouncements against female genital mutilation and promote also girl education. So generally, it's a public ceremony that really introduces a new norm, and it makes not cutting girls a traditional norm that is acceptable, that is fashionable, and it promotes the new meaning of not cutting girls and empowering them by taking them to schools. So that's exactly what we have been doing for the last 9 years. And going forward, we look forward to scaling this work up in most of the African countries where Amref is working. And we can't wait to do this because we feel that it's a very empowering initiative. So far, since 2009, we have had over 10,000 girls pass through the Alternative Rite of Passage instead of FGM. These girls have already gone on to complete their primary school. Some of them are already in college, and some have even finished universities, meaning that they have been empowered to be able to contribute better in their communities.
In terms of what UNICEF is doing, in our region, in the Eastern and Southern Africa region, we are supporting 5 countries, specifically in the joint program that we have with UNFPA, and I'm sure my colleague with UNFPA will talk a little bit about that. The countries that we're supporting, the 5 countries are part of this joint program that has been running for a while now. It's now in its 2nd phase, and this joint program has really sort of been reshaped in some ways into sort of 3 pillars that try to target the policy environment, the creation and enforcement of new legislation against FGMC. The 2nd pillar really focuses on the provision of services, preventive services, protective services, care services for girls and women that are, I guess, at risk of FGMC and other harmful practices. The 3rd pillar really speaks to sort of mobilizing social dynamics against FGMC. And this is sort of where I, as a C4D specialist, really give a lot of technical support in terms of understanding that, cultures have positive and negative effects, and that, these girls and these women are existing in a particular cultural space, and then how do we sort of create change at an individual level, but also at a community level. So the approach that we've taken in that pillar is really sort of this social norms approach that has sort of at its heart this idea that we are changing a harmful social norm and trying to replace it with positive social norms. So I guess these are some of the things that the alternative rights are sort of trying to encourage. Part of our support is in sort of identifying who these positive people are in the communities that can help to sort of strengthen or facilitate the creation of a new social norm. We have recorded quite some successes in the program. As I said, the 2nd phase now has been we've got a lot of data that shows that the 1st phase was quite successful and there are things that worked in that 1st phase. So now we are really focusing on sort of tying it up in a way, in the sense that we're really sort of trying to amplify the successes that we've got. Part of this includes working more closely with the media to make sure that there's greater visibility for stories such as Sabina's and for communities that have actually declared that they're going to be FGMC. And there are impressive results in terms, we've reached millions really of people in thousands of communities that have declared themselves to be FGMC free or that they're against the practice of FGMC. We're also working very closely to make sure that there's standardized practices for services, for people who need services, again, for prevention or protection from FGMC. So those are some of the results that we've registered. When looking ahead, we are paying particular attention to, again, the involvement of men and boys. As you've seen from the film again, the lady in the film was sort of addressing young boys. When trying to understand social norms, it's really important that we identify who the influential others are that keep a norm in place. Often we've assumed that the influential others are men. The data sometimes is showing us something different. That it's actually not men, it's women. Most men are actually not in support of FGMC. That sometimes the support and the pressure actually comes from other women. So it's almost about sort of shifting the perception of influence from the women to sort of harnessing the strength of men to say, we really necessarily don't support this practice, we don't necessarily find this more attractive. So these are some of the challenges that we are working with right now, among other things.
I do what my heart tells me to do, which is to end FGM and early marriage. I'm a beneficiary of programs that I'm running now, that Amref is running, that UNFPA is running, that UNICEF is running. I am a beneficiary of that myself. And my way of giving back after that kind of thing is to do exactly what I'm doing. And because of what I did for over 10 years, I was recognized by God knows who, and that's how I came to the Anti-FGM board. I am actually a director at the Anti-FGM board. I'm the only representative of the, I would say, pastoralist communities. And we're actually 2 in that board. And I thank God, because God knows how to pick you up and put you in the right place, even without your knowledge. I just received a call from JB Kilimo. You are in the board. Can you come tomorrow for a meeting? And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. So, for a very long time, the NGOs and international development partners have been doing FGM work. It's always been known to be, oh, ile kazi ya NGOs, oh, ile kazi ya Amref, ile kazi ya World Vision. So it was always FGM, World Vision, FGM, Amref, FGM, UNICEF, UNFPA. But the government has always been so silent on this issue. But now, the government has decided, oh, it's time for us to be part of this war. At least we see some love for our girls from the government. That's why an act has been put together, 20,000, the Prohibition of Anti-FGM Act. Amref, you're doing a fantastic job, and we thank God for Amref, and with partners like you, we shall surely finish FGM in this country. We are also partnering with KICD. We are now coming up with a curriculum to include issues of FGM in the school curriculum. I am telling you, FGM is on its way out in this country. It's actually skydiving very fast. And if we continue with that partnership and collaboration, you know, they say in Kimasai, and I think in other languages, one, I don't know how to translate it directly from English, one finger cannot kill. Yeah, allows. Chawa, eh? Kidole kimoja kiwi nini? Chawa. And it's like the three stones. You cannot cook with only one of them. They have to be exactly how many? 3 or above, or even 4, 5. But at least not 1. We've been training women cutters. You know, for us as a board, we tell the law enforcers that you have to go for the cutters. You have to arrest them. But you cannot arrest them until you tell them, as I said, they're coming from an ignorant point of view, before you tell them that this is what you're doing is bad. Do you all remember in Kenya, when the women in Enkorika came out and said, who told you to go and make a law against our own culture? Who do you think you are? We are going to continue circumcising women. If you want to know that's true, just Google Enkorika women for FGM in Kajiado. You'll get it. How many saw that in the news? Yes. So I went back to that village. I know them because that's my village, fortunately. Or unfortunately, actually unfortunately. Such a shameful act. And then I tell them, so now it was your turn to shame me, right? We've been talking about this thing all along, and then, of course, there was a story behind it. There was a chief who was put behind bars, and they're like, you cannot be arrested for doing our culture. You cannot arrest me for circumcising my daughter. I cannot give out my daughter to a man before she's circumcised. It's about marriage, eh? So you have to humble yourself because you realize this person is talking because they don't understand. So they film again, pop. And we tell them, all you circumcisers come. At first, they were hiding themselves. Can you hear what Agnes is saying? Is she going to arrest us? You two go first, because you are her friends, and then we see. And then the two came, and they realized, oh, nobody's being arrested. So we did a dialogue, community dialogue. The women cutters came one by one from the villages. We thought we had 55, but actually we have 86. We know them from one location. We have trained them. They denounced it. They said, if this is what we have been doing to our daughters, we don't want blood. They fear blood also at the same time. We don't want blood on our shoulders. So for that reason, we will stop. We said, okay, if you have stopped, are you ready to declare that publicly? Yes, we are ready. And we will even cast the person who comes again after our declaration to say that they will cut. Okay, can I bring all the government on board so that you tell them openly that you have stopped? They said yes. So international 16 days of activism, 2016, women in Nkori came to declare we have stopped.
I'm Alice Masinte. I underwent the cut. That was back in the year 2002 when I was in class 6. It happened that I was to get married immediately after the cut, the same night. So my mom helped me. I was rescued in a Catholic convent in my place. That is Oloitoktok, place called Rombo. And then I continued with my education, finished class 8. I attained good marks. Then I went to high school while I was still back in the sisters' convent in Catholic. Then I passed very well. So we did a reconciliation with my dad and even decided to take me to the university, Egerton University, whereby he said, no, I have to do a course, a very good course that will bring me back to my community. And I did teaching. I teach secondary school, that is biology and agriculture, in Rombo. Then after having all that, undergone the cut, seeing my other girls also getting cut like each and every day, no, I said, no, I should not just sit and watch this practice continuing. So with the training from Amref, I was able to form a community-based organization. It is a group. We are a group of youths whereby we advocate and create a lot of awareness in my community on the effects of FGM. And because I actually teach a girls' school, so that is why I decided to stay in the community. So having undergone all that, I said, no, I should bring something back to my community. The cut should stop. So that is what I normally do. And mostly, I organize the in-school sessions whereby I write a letter maybe to primary schools, head teachers. I ask for some time, like 1 hour, 2 hours in the schools in Loitoktok. I really thank Amref. Amref has been has been offering me a lot of support. I've always been in all the RP trainings. I facilitate and all that.
My name is Judith Kunyiha. I'm Assistant Representative of UNFPA Kenya Country Office. Women's Day is an important day for us because really it's celebrating one part of society, one part of community, and that doesn't mean that we're leaving behind the other half. We're simply recognizing that we have a half that is our mothers and our mentors. They bring us up, and we need to bring them up and celebrate them. So to all the women in the house and the men in the house, we need to celebrate each other. There's good news, progressive good news. The good news in Kenya is that the prevalence of FGM has gone down. It is at 21%. And it has gone down because of efforts of several players, and you can see some of them here. And we have partnered with all of these people in one way or another. So the lesson there is that if we work together and we're concertedly approaching something from different angles, we can actually make a difference. So it is not all lost. How do we work in UNFPA? We look at this issue from all angles, using a culturally sensitive lens. So we participate and we support Alternative Rites of Passage. I won't go into that a lot. And we work with communities, and we partner with other UN agencies. Specifically, our primary partner is UNICEF. We have a joint program. And our main concern or our main approach is that we need to have organic consensus, organic growth, so that this can come from bottom up, not from top down. And that is why it is so important for us to engage with community, to engage with gatekeepers in community, religious leaders, elders, to engage with the beneficiaries of our program, the young girls, the young men, to have conversations. Because until we have value clarification, until we change our values and we change our social norms, we are not going to get the organic growth that we look for and that we're anticipating. And this is why when we have a community declaring itself as non-cutting, affirming this publicly, this does not just come from nowhere. It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of dialogue, debating, agreement, disagreement, but finally reaching a consensus that this is not about the dignity of our community. This is actually pulling somebody back. So it is important that we work with the medical providers, the health workers, midwives, doctors, to know how to identify these cases and to intervene appropriately. There really is no need to have a woman who has gone through type 3 cut enduring labor. I mean, we have to make the proper intervention so that she does not have to go through this. So we work with our midwives, with our doctors. We have worked with the midwives and had it incorporated in the midwives' curriculum so that they can see this. We've also worked with doctors so that it's included on their on-job training. Amref has been a very key partner, especially when we're working with the midwives, and also working with the community health workers so that they're able to identify. I mean, the community health workers know who is in the community and they know who has gone through the cut when they get pregnant, and they can quickly identify and start to refer them to the appropriate channels. More alarming, though, in this area is the issue of medicalization. And it's something ugly. It is coming up, and we're really working hard with the medical practitioners, the health workers, to identify it and to stop it. Medicalizing and making the cut safe does not make it better. It is still a violation of the rights of the woman. And therefore, there's nothing safe about having it done in hospital so that you're controlling the bleeding. And this is an area that we really have to put a lot of effort in. We're really concerned about that. And we're working together with the health professionals to change this value. Because it's not like male circumcision where you do it in hospital and it is safe. These are apples and oranges. You cannot compare it. So this is an area of concern, an area that we need to continue to advocate for and to get champions for. So that we stop it, we nip it in the bud before it becomes too pervasive.
I'm exceedingly happy to be here today because FGM is something that actually women do to each other. It's very, very rare in the scourges and the evils that happen to women and girls that it's something that we do to each other. And it's not something we talk about. It's something that we bear the pain of, and we're scarred for life. But I'm really encouraged by the fact that we're talking about it, by the fact that we're educating our older women, that the fact that we had it done to us doesn't mean that we have to do it to our daughters. I've been reaching out to midwives all over Africa because I'm the ICM Global Ambassador for midwives, because I believe that apart from the woman that did it to the girl, and apart from her husband who probably feels that it's a rite of passage that will make his wife chaste, it's the midwives that are best placed to detect if a woman has had FGM and to stop that painful cycle moving into the next generation. I'm happy that Amref has had the courage to actually speak out and launch this program against FGM. I think it's amazing the method that Amref has used by giving a substitute, a replacement, ritual or rite of affirmation.
I'm so happy that we are all here, our partners, UNFPA, UNICEF, Anti-FGM board. The one thing that we must remember, and I think it's been said by somebody at last, and I think it was Shiloni, it's about partnership. We'll never do it alone. We will never achieve it alone. You cannot go to the forest and chase the animal alone. We have all to be together, one person chasing it from that side, the other person this side, and that's why we're working together to also see that we bring the curriculum. And we are working closely with all the partners. When we thought about the curriculum, we didn't say, Amref, we need to go and do the curriculum. We called the Anti-FGM board and said, can you get all the partners together at KICD? And I believe we're still working together as partners. And that is really what is going to help us achieve. So whatever method we use, and you talked about this, let us make sure that all those methods point to the same thing. And we are looking to achieve the same thing across. As I was listening to R. Kelly, he said, if I can see it, then I can do it, okay? If I just believe in it, there's nothing to it. I can do it, okay? So let's sing the chorus together. Okay? We sing the chorus together. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every day and night. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. Let us soar on this vision. We can see it, we believe in it, we can do it. I now declare this FGM C vision officially launched. Thank you. I'm going to hand over this vision to these two young, beautiful women, and they are going to hand it over to Toyin tomorrow at the closing ceremony of the main conference. Is that in order? Yes. Thank you.